Picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back into the Bettor Sports Betting Show here, presented by Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm, wherever you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, the BSN app as well. We're happy to have you guys in here for another round of some sports betting picks, MLB, NBA, NHL. We're covering it all here. I'm with here Jon Impemba back for another show with me. How you doing, John?
I've been better, obviously, being a Celtics fan. Last night was a pretty tough pill to swallow. Really tough game to sit there and watch. There was a lot of times where I just wanted to turn it off, but I did manage to watch it till the very end there, the unfortunate ending of the Celtics season.
Yeah, that's a bummer to watch. I can empathize with you because it's just when your team wins, especially what they did, winning 3 games in a row to make it interesting, make a game 7 and try to be that first team ever in NBA history to complete the 0-3 comeback. Yeah. And they were favored by, what was it, 8.5 or 7.5 points, I think, going in.
They opened at 8.5 home favorites.
Yeah.
Our guy Andrew Cooper texted me. He's like, what's the bet tonight? And I was telling him, like, listen, obviously you want Celtics to win. But if you want to make sure you go home a winner no matter what, bet the Heat money line. They were plus 275. I was like, right. So, like, if the Heat win, you're making a little bit of money. If the Celtics win, great. I don't know if he ended up taking that advice or not. But yeah, pretty tough game, especially like you said. It's not only that they won 3 straight; it's how they won Game 6 with that 0.1 second remaining tip-in, buzzer beater win, getting the whole city of Boston on edge, waiting for this game, and then just to lay a complete egg. It was just a frustrating night there to sit there and watch the Celtics.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, the the betting strategy for that, if you are a Celtics fan, or vice versa, if you are a Heat fan, you want to maybe try to lay a couple bets so you come out a winner either way. We had Justin Fensterman on yesterday's show, and he suggested taking plus 7.5 with the Heat. So that was I'm glad I kind of tailed that. I went light though, just because I was like, there's a chance that he could get blown out. I mean, obviously it went the other way there, but it kind of crazy. So now we have Miami Heat against the Denver Nuggets for the NBA Finals. I don't think many people predicted this at the beginning of the season, but the Heat have been in the conference finals a number of times in the past few years, so we shouldn't be too surprised. And the Nuggets have, a 2-time MVP in Nikola Jokic. And you can see here the schedule coming up. Thursday is when the finals actually starts up. So we'll definitely get an NBA guest from our Fantasy Alarm circles to talk some more player props, best bets for that game 1 and for the whole series. But just looking at this as we're a few days away now, but the Nuggets are significant favorites in this whole series as a whole, minus 400. On the series money line here, and then the Miami Heat are plus 310 to win it, and you can see some of those other odds. The Nuggets in 4, Nuggets in 5, Nuggets in 6 are kind of those favorite bets there. But how are you looking at this one? Are the Heat worth taking at this point to back them? They've gotten this far.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they upset the 1 and 2 seeds, obviously. With Milwaukee and Boston in the Eastern Conference. But the West has always kind of been, the tougher animal out there. And matchup-wise, Boston's length was considered to be an issue for Miami in that series. Well, Denver's pretty big too, right? With Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and then Nikola Jokic there in the center. They have nobody that's going to be able to defend Jokic. I mean, Bam will do his best, but he's giving up a lot of size there, and Jokic is a guy that can play inside and outside. So just a big mismatch for that matchup for them there. There's a lot of outside shooting that Denver has as well, and Jamal Murray is just a great guard. So I don't mind, honestly, betting the sweep for Denver here at plus 400. I mean, they did it against the Lakers, and I think the Lakers have a lot more top-end talent I mean, unless you're going to tell me that Caleb Martin goes out and shoots 60% from the floor and 50% from three again for an entire series, this one's going to be, I think, pretty tough for the Miami to kind of pull through here. So I think conservatively this goes 5, but I'd be willing to bet the sweep here for Denver.
Yeah, the sweep price is very interesting there. Even if you want to go Nuggets in 5, say the Heat get a game there. I mean, plus 210 is pretty good too, because obviously there's not much worth betting on the Denver minus 400 to win the title. But yeah, the even like Nuggets in 6, you could sprinkle a little bit on each of those. But Nuggets in 4,
I mean, that's basically what they're telling you is they think Miami maybe gets 1, right?
Yeah.
Plus 210 is the favorite there. So Miami maybe gets 1. I'd just bet the sweep at 450.
Yeah, and the Nuggets having home court advantage, right, through this series.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's huge for them. They've been undefeated and lights out at home. So say they win the first 2 games and then Miami maybe gets 1 at home. So that's kind of how you could see it. And I don't have the price in front of me, but you could even do it's probably a similar, but like the exact final. It's if you think it's Nuggets in 4, you could go Nuggets 4-1 series price, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, and then you could also bet accordingly. Obviously, they're 8.5 points favorites for this game 1. So, interesting there. But yeah, later in the week, we'll definitely have some more picks and some more bets on the NBA Finals. Finals MVP props, that kind of thing, which could be interesting. Obviously we'll pencil in Jokic, but it could be anybody at this point.
I was surprised that Caleb Martin didn't get Finals Eastern Conference MVP there.
He probably should have.
Again, he shot 60 and 50 for splits there for, double doubles. Like I get with Jimmy Butler, the star player, being there, but Caleb Martin's the reason that team did what they did in Game 7 there. So,
yeah, exactly. Well, let's get to some MLB best bets here for tonight's slate. We got a ton of games here on Tuesday night. And by the way, coming up at 5 o'clock Eastern after us, we have Jon Impemba pulling double duty with James Grande, talk some MLB DFS for tonight's slate. But let's get into some picks here. And by the way, go check out Josh Wagner's MLB Best Bets article over at fantasyalarm.com to get some of his picks for tonight. We got Howard taking the day off, but Wags has been cooking up some winners there too. And that's you have to get the all-pro package at Fantasy Alarm for that, but it's worth it. And you can get the first 6 months off, 50% off the first 6 months with promo code ALARM50 to get all of our award-winning DFS playbooks for tonight's MLB slate and coming up for the NBA Finals, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, all that. So definitely get in that ALARM50 for free trial and 50% off your first 6 months for the all-pro playbooks and all-pro package.
Access to everything, man. That's the greatest deal we got going on. Access to our premium Discord as well. You got a great opportunity in there. You can go draft underdog best ball drafts with us, best ball 10 drafts with us in there, all part of that premium Discord, and you get that with the all-pro package there. It's really the best deal we got going on. It's $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. It takes you through the first, I think we're at 2 months now of the NFL season, so hard to beat.
Yeah, and ideally you make it back with a couple of betting picks of winners. I mean,
easy.
It'll be basically like a free subscription there. So, but yeah, go check that out. Josh Wagner's got his MLB best bets for tonight's slate. But let's throw out some of ours. I'll let you go first, John. What's your top pick for tonight's slate?
Yeah, listen, I do the Prize Picks article over at Fantasy Alarm video. You can find it on YouTube there. My favorite play today, Yusei Kikuchi over 5.5 strikeouts. If you look at that over on DraftKings Sportsbooks at -125 there as well. I know a lot of people have been probably burned by Kikuchi this season, but this is my if not now then never play. Because he's up against literally the worst team in baseball against left-handed pitching. The Milwaukee Brewers this year are ranking literally dead last in WOBA, dead last in batting average. They're 27th in average there. They have a 30% strikeout rate. All of these things for Kikuchi are just playing in his favor. He's at home. It's a 5.5 total here. He's always been a high strikeout guy. This year, his strikeout numbers aren't as great, because he's just been getting shelled. He's had a tough road. But again, this is just the absolute premium matchup for left-handed pitching and a guy that is profiled as a high strikeout pitcher in the past, going up against a team that strikes out the most in baseball against left-handed pitching. So Kikuchi over 5.5 strikeouts today is my top play.
I love that pick, and that was one I considered for my underdog picks over on Fantasy Alarm for tonight, going over that 5.5 for strikeout prop. And you mentioned it, so I'm going to piggyback right off of it because Kikuchi in this matchup is one I love to take the Blue Jays money line. I got it -150 on BetMGM earlier today. I'd see it -155 over on DraftKings, but I'm fine with that price. It's right in the range of I'm willing to back the money line and not move towards the run line for that. But I like the Blue Jays money line and the first 5 run line just to be leading after 5 innings, about even money over on DraftKings. But the matchup for Kikuchi against the Brewers is definitely part of it. And Kikuchi, you mentioned it, has been up and down, a little shaky at times, but he's had better success in some of his easier matchups this year, like faced the Pirates, the White Sox, and the Royals, and had some good numbers. But he's had some tough matchups like the Braves that the AL East teams have been hitting him around.
And
but
he had 7 strikeouts in that game against the Braves too. So it's
there you go.
Showing there's still a little bit of that strikeout potential. But that's what I was talking about it on the show this morning for DFS purposes. You look at his game logs, and he's a murderer's row schedule there for him. So should be an easy go tonight.
Yeah. So I like that end of it. You mentioned the Brewers' offense against lefties is just terrible, arguably the worst in the league this year. And then the other side, I like this Jays offense against Adrian Hauser for the Brewers. He has a 2.25 ERA this year, which is good, but his 3.48 expected ERA shows some regression coming. He's got a 6.14 road ERA this year. So I see those numbers and look at the Jays offense, which has been a top 5 offense against right-handed pitching this year. 334 WOBA this whole season. Over the past 2 weeks, they're even better at 349 WOBA, 124 weighted runs created plus. So I see them having success and giving Kikuchi enough run support in this one. And a couple of other interesting trends I kind of dug into for both these teams. Brewers in the month of May, 10-15. So they've had some losing issues here, and especially on the road this month, they're 3-9. And this is a start of a road trip for Milwaukee, and they're actually 0-4 straight up in all of their first games of road trips this season. So that's an interesting trend. On the other side, we got the Blue Jays 3-0 when they go home to Toronto to start a homestand. So this is the start of a homestand for them. So I like all these kind of arrows are just pointing right to the Blue Jays.
You can get Kikuchi to record a win tonight at +200 if you think he is out there long enough with a lead and that bullpen holds down Milwaukee. +200 to be the winning pitcher tonight.
That's another good one. And if you do like a little same game parlay, you could get like Kikuchi strikeouts and the money line. It's probably pretty juicy too.
Yeah, DraftKings giving you a 50% profit boost tonight too. If you like to use their little odds bumps there, so you could make that into a +300 for Kikuchi to get a win tonight. So hasn't had many of them, hasn't been in games long enough to get them, but again, we're definitely liking this matchup here tonight. So.
Yeah, let's just back the Blue Jays and Kikuchi in all formats here. James Grande has a bad joke in our comment section here, but are you saying Kikuchi is going to win?
Yes, he is one of the worst people I know, and it's unfortunate that I have to do multiple shows with him during the day because he just is constantly weaving in those horrid jokes that turn away our audience most days. He's got a dad joke mug that he likes to carry around with him during the morning shows, but yes, James, I think we're saying that Kikuchi may be in a good spot to get a win here tonight.
Yeah, have fun for another hour with him coming up on the MLB DFS show. I'll let you throw another. You got another MLB best bet for tonight, so I'll let you get to that one.
Yeah, I'm going with Kyle Gibson here, over 18.5 outs. He's gone over this now in back-to-back starts, 7 innings in each of his last 2 outings here. And again, we're just targeting matchups, right? Fine pitching against bad offenses, and that's what we have here. Gibson now going up against the Cleveland Guardians. They rank 29th in WOBA, 28th in ISO, 26th in average, and 27th in runs scored against right-handed pitching this season. Gibson at home has actually been his better split. He's got a 3.04 ERA at home this season. He's gone over 18.5 outs in half of his starts this year. So, he's made, I think he's made 11 starts on the year. He's gone about 50%. He's hit the over on this. you're getting it at plus odds, plus 125. So that to me, just a lot of things scream like great home splits against an awful offense in Cleveland here. The one thing that could also play in his favor, sometimes we don't like it, but in this instance, I don't mind it because I need him to go deeper into games, is that Cleveland doesn't really strike out. So Cleveland puts a lot of balls in play, but they're terrible when it comes to putting the ball in play. They usually just get out. So like it could keep the pitch count down enough for Gibson here to get deeper into this game because he's not wasting all of those pitches on strikeouts. So Gibson over the 18.5 outs tonight, and you're getting him at plus odds. So that's my other favorite spot for tonight.
I like that. I wanted to ask you a quick question about like outs props, because the 18.5 obviously is that barometer for going 6 innings, or you're saying he's going to go more than 6 innings in this instance.
We cashed the ticket with 6 in the third innings here tonight. He's gone 7 innings in each of the last 2 outings. So that's what I'm looking for here.
Love it. All right, I'm going to throw out another one here. By the way, if you guys have any questions about some betting picks for MLB or any other sport coming up this week, tonight, actually, to tease, I have a WNBA pick for a little bit later that I'm on tonight. So I'll throw that at the end of the show. But we'll get to some of our home run calls as well a little bit later. So if you got any home run calls you want to throw out there, we'll give you props. But any questions or comments on any picks for tonight, we're definitely able to talk about any of these games. But
our guy James Grande just sent out his daily home run call tweet. So
he did.
We've actually had some pretty good success there with some winners in that thread. So if you're not yet following Mr. Grande on Twitter, you can go do that at the real Grande. Got way too many underscores in his name, but you can go check out that thread and see who we're all picking for some home run here calls tonight.
No underscores in Jon Impemba's Twitter handle. You can see that on his on the page here. I just have one, but that's all right. I'll throw out another pick here. I'm on the Dodgers tonight. So yesterday I backed the Dodgers-Nats game to go over. The total was 9, and the Nats did not come through. The Dodgers did their part, scored 6 runs, but the Nats offense did not. So I'm kind of narrowing that focus and just backing the Dodgers again tonight, because they're facing this Nats team that is throwing out Jake Irvin tonight. The righty's got a 5.32 ERA this year. His FIP is half a run higher at 5.92, and his expected ERA is at 6.54 this year. So this matchup for the Dodgers, who have been hammering right-handed pitching this year, 337 WOBA this year, and over the month of May, still in that same range, about 331. Just an offense that's a lot better against righties than lefties this whole season, just built for it. Guys like Freddie Freeman, these lefties that mash right-handed pitching. So I'm going with the Dodgers here over their run total, over their team total at 5.5, about even money on DraftKings. But the 6 runs, I mean, they've scored 6+ runs in 3 straight now, and are averaging 6 runs scored over the past 2 weeks overall. They've been a hot offense. So I'm backing them, and the Nats have a below average bullpen. So I think the Dodgers, even if Jake Irvin exits early, I could see them still having success later in innings. So I like that. And then piggybacking off of that, I'm going with Freddie Freeman. I wrote about him in the Underdog Picks article up on Fantasy Alarm right now. But this is a different one than that one. That's a total bases prop. But this one I'm going with hits, runs, and RBIs. It's 2.5, but it's juiced up at plus 110. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of the 2.5 because he's been on fire lately. 4.14 batting average and a 12.24 OPS over the past 7 games, hitting 4.10 over the past 15 games, 18-game hitting streak right now, 34-game on base streak. I backed Freeman's total bases last night and it hit. And I'm going back there right tonight, even with the hits, runs, RBIs. I love this prop. He's over it in 4 straight and 14 of the past 18 games. And he's got really good numbers against right-handed pitching and at home. And so all these hours are pointing to Freeman helping the Dodgers team total go over. So I like both of those.
Yeah, I was hunting that one too. The 2.5 is the only reason I moved off of it. If it was sitting at 1.5, I would have hammered.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing like Corey Seager every time he's on the slate at 1.5. I'm like, I'll just click the button and we'll see what happens there. The 2.5 moved me off of it a little bit on that.
Yeah, and James Grande backing me up in the chat here saying peripheral numbers for Irvin versus right-handed hitters due for some regression as well. He stinks. Yes, this is why I'm back in the Dodgers. Lefties, righties, they'll all smack Irvin and the Nats bullpen tonight. So, all right, give us what's another pick you got rolling tonight?
Yeah, I just feel like we're losing money every night. We're not betting Story Ruiz to steal the base. So it's over half. It's plus 120 tonight. Given the day, it can kind of go up to plus 150 as well. Now, no, he's not stealing a base every day, but he's stolen 28, I think, so far on the year. And he's a guy that's on pace to lead the league in stolen bases this season. Bryce Elder's on the mound here tonight. So again, it's not as if it's an easy matchup here, but if he gets on first, he is looking to get to second every time. So I'm willing to kind of throw a little bet there down because you're getting the plus odds on the game's elite base stealer there. So I like Ruiz over the half stolen base here tonight.
I like that. You threw that out last Tuesday when you were on the show with me, and he stole base that night.
Yeah.
And I didn't take it that night. I should have, obviously, but I think I'm doing it tonight because that stolen base. You're right. It's we're losing money, not taking.
He's not gonna. He's not gonna steal a base every day, but he's on a pattern where he is stealing a base every other day, every few days. So some days he'll steal bases multiple days in a row. So you're getting plus odds on it. So I'm just gonna keep firing nickels at it, and we'll see what happens. Right.
Yeah, I get it. It's interesting that matchup against Bryce Elder too, because you mentioned he could. I think he's due for some negative regression. So yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I'll go back to another pick I got here. I like the Cubs run line, plus 1.5 on the run line. Their money line is juiced plus 160, so that's interesting too. But I just like the run line here as the underdogs. If they lose by 1 run, I'm fine with it. Minus 105 on DraftKings. The Rays, they're facing the Tampa Bay Rays here. Shane McClanahan on the bunt for them. Obviously a tough matchup. Been outstanding, unhittable at times this year. But I'm just fading him a little bit here. If there's ever a time to fade him, it's been on the road for McClanahan. He's got a 1.22 ERA at home this year, but a 3 road ERA. So I see that being, possibly giving up a couple runs here to the Cubs. And the Cubs have been a top 5 offense against left-handed pitching this whole season, 349 WOBA, and even better the last 2 weeks against lefties at a 350 WOBA. So this Cubs offense just hits lefties a lot better. We got Kyle Hendricks on the other side. Wasn't great in his first start of the season after returning from injury, but I think he bounces back. Another home start for him where he's got a career ERA of a 3.10 at home at Wrigley. Just the ballpark he pitches a lot better, more comfortable in. I think he bounces back here to kind of keep the Cubs in it enough. And the Rays have actually been below average against righties lately. 314 WOBA and 234 batting average over the last 2 weeks against righties, which is interesting because their overall stats, they've been crushing righties for the season-long sample size, but lately they've been struggling just a touch. So I see that being a factor here. And then on the other side, you also have the Rays bullpen, which has been something I've been targeting lately with overs and team totals and money lines and all that, because they've been pretty bad and just the worst bullpen ERA over the last month, and 7.21 bullpen ERA over the past 2 weeks. The Cubs bullpen hasn't been much better, but I still think they're going to do enough, and I like this run line as the underdogs. If they lose by 1 run, I'm fine with it, but I don't see the Rays offense doing as much damage here.
Yeah, it's funny because I kind of have not even a running bid, but basically anytime Yan Gomes faces a lefty, I always consider him in DFS because he just absolutely mashes lefties. Still, he homered off Kershaw earlier in the year. So when we were looking at some home run odds, he was plus 600 tonight to homer off of McClanahan. I was like, that's not a bad little deep dart throw if you're looking just to go off the wall, really. McClanahan last year had a 15% home run to fly ball rate. It's much better this year. But his first 2 years as a major league pitcher, his home run to fly ball rate, 15, 14% in that range. So a guy that does give up home runs, you could see, like you mentioned, in Chicago tonight, someone saw lefty particularly going deep off him there. So a righty.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the wind is blowing in just a touch in Chicago, which we all know it's a factor for Wrigley, but this total's at 8.5, which is also interesting. So we could see some runs here on both sides, but I still think the Cubs, anytime we can fade the Rays at like a huge price, because the Rays are gonna be favored in almost every game, and they're minus 190 here on the money line. But like like I said, the money line for the Cubs is interesting, plus 160 at DraftKings. But I like the run line and just to play it a little bit more safe.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, give us another pick you got for tonight's slate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know I mentioned the Ruiz stolen base prop. I think that can still hit while Elder doing his thing. He's I'm going over 17.5 outs here. It's minus 155 over on DraftKings Sportsbook. So another outs prop here. We just need him to go 6 innings to get this 18 outs for the over. This is something that he's done now in 6 of his 9 starts. He's done that in back-to-back starts here. So Elder's starting to go up. It's the best pitching matchup on the board statistically, really. Targeting the A's. I know they went off last night and scored a bunch of runs here. And I know you mentioned that maybe there's some regression coming for Bryce Elder. I honestly don't know where Atlanta keeps on finding all of these starting pitchers. Like every year they just find a new guy to go out there and have a sub-2 ERA. But I think Elder does enough here. I love that they're not really limiting his pitch count. He goes out there and throws 95 plus pitches an outing. So if things go according to plan here tonight with the way Vegas is expecting it all, we should get another at least 6 innings out of Bryce Elder here.
All right. And 17.5 was the line there, which is like, you just need him to get to 6 innings and that's fine. And a lot of pitching coaches and managers will like try to let, even if he's given up a couple runs in that 5th or in that 6th inning, if he can just get one more out and get to that 18 outs, we're fine with it. So I like that. I'm going to throw one out here. It's Ben Lively over 3.5 strikeouts, plus money on DraftKings. Obviously Ben Lively, not the first pitcher we like to back with pitcher props or in DFS or anything, but I see this being just a little bit low for his strikeouts. He's had 2 starts since he's entered the Cincinnati rotation this year, 8 strikeouts in both starts, and they both come against some good matchup or some tougher matchups, the Yankees and the Cardinals. And now he gets to face the Red Sox, who's also a tough matchup on paper over the whole season. But like the Rays, they're a team that's struggled against right-handed pitching lately. 24% K rate against righties over the past 2 weeks, and a 281 WOBA over the past 2 weeks against righties. So they're trending down right now in that split. So I see Lively having some success here. We just need him to get into 4 strikeouts. And like I said, he's had 8 in back-to-back starts and his only 2 starts this season. And the other factor here is the Reds are kind of stretching him out a little bit more, letting him go deep. Tossed 103 pitches last start. Was at 80 plus the start before. So, this is a guy who started in the bullpen for them this year, but I think they're fine letting him go deep. And if he's running hot, they're going to let him go, 6 innings or whatever. I think he can get to 4 strikeouts at least here. So I like the plus money on that.
Yeah, I mean, he probably strikes out Casas twice. So, I mean, he's got like a 28% strikeout rate.
That's 2 right there. We just need 2 more.
That's what I'm saying. So there's definitely a couple guys at the bottom of that lineup that have high K numbers, and Manuel Valdez, another guy that could probably get us a nice swing and miss out of. So I like that play, even though I'm a Red Sox fan. I know my team's weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're fading the Red Sox here. The Celtics lost last night. I'm sorry, man.
That's fine. It's fine. I do think Brian Bayo could be an interesting innings prop guy tonight. They're letting him go deeper into games as well.
I did look at him as well. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one I got tonight is, again, sticking sort of with the Atlanta and Oakland game. I got Austin Riley over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. It's minus 125. Got a lefty on the mound here. He just hammered lefties. So we're going Austin Riley over to the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
Nice. And my last pick here for player props before we get to some home run calls. I like Ketel Marte to go over his total bases, 1.5 total bases. Minus 125 on DraftKings. I got it at. I like his he's been hitting well lately. 323 batting average over the last 15 games. He started the season slow, but he's caught it back up. And over 1.5 total bases in 4 of the last 5 games and 7 of the last 11. Over the month of May in 24 games, he's got 47 total bases. So obviously averaging a good average to get that over 1.5 tonight. Switch hitter facing lefty Kyle Freeland here for the Rockies. Freeland's been up and down this season. I think he's going to run into trouble against Arizona tonight. And Marte has some good, strong splits on the right side against lefties. He's got more power on the right side throughout his career, and especially this season, he's got some better numbers on the right side. And Freeland's a guy that struggled on the road this year, 4.71 ERA on the road this year. So I like Marte here, and he also has some favorable BVP numbers. And don't like to take that as gospel all the time, but in this instance, it kind of matches up well in that case. So I like Marte's over 1.5 total bases. You can look at his over hits, runs, RBIs. It's at 2.5, which you mentioned with Freeman. Don't really love the 2.5, but I was fine with it with Freeman. But here with Marte, I'll just do total bases.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Again, going up against Freeland, a guy that we target a lot in DFS. Peripheral numbers always suggest some like major regression coming his way, and there's a lot of guys in that Arizona lineup that we like for power and upside. You mentioned Marte, but Christian Walker hammers lefties. Evan Longoria is a guy that hits lefties really well. Rivera hits lefties really well. So a good spot here for that D-backs lineup tonight.
Yeah, Freeland, interesting. He's got better numbers at home in Coors Field this year than on the road, which is, we've seen that with Rockies pitchers in the past, but interesting for him tonight. So, yeah, you mentioned some of those power numbers. Let's get to some of our home run calls. Do you have a D-backs player for your home run call?
I don't. I'm going to go with Nolan Gorman here today, going up against the Kansas City Royals. Zach Greinke on the mound. Greinke this year, terrible. As we know, guys probably well past his prime. He's already allowed 10 home runs and 11 starts this year. Lefty's doing a lot of that damage. 303, a 535 slugging percentage against Zach Greinke here. And road splits for Greinke, also pretty brutal. He's allowed 7 of his 10 home runs on the road, a 6.66 ERA away from Kansas City here. So we're going to go with Nolan Gorman and St. Louis lineup there. Homer and off Zach Greinke here tonight.
Nice. Yeah, I looked at a couple Cardinals hitters for home run props against Greinke because I could see maybe a possible couple of those going deep, but I like the Gorman call there. I'm going to go with Royce Lewis. You just saw on the graphic there, plus 750 on DraftKings. Obviously, Royce Lewis is all the rage right now. And by the way, go check out Adam Ronis's waiver wire article up on Fantasy Alarm right now. It's a free read for those looking for that, but he touched on Royce Lewis a lot, being a top waiver wire pickup this year, or this week rather. Just got called up by the Twins. He's back healthy. He's been a long road back and forth, battling some injuries the last couple of years, but he's back in there. And the Twins just slotted him right in at the 5-hole in last night's lineup, and he went deep. He hit a homer last night, and he also had a huge single late in the game to give the Twins a chance there. And he's a guy that I think just plays with some confidence right now, hitting that homer, as I mentioned, but also had 4 homers over 8 games at AAA before being called up this season. So just I think I'm going to ride this wave. Plus 750 is really juicy. Obviously, we could get an 0 for 5 night from him tonight, but facing Brandon Bielak for the Astros, he's allowed 6 homers over his 5 outings this year, and he allowed 3 last start against the Brewers. So I think the Twins, someone could go deep here, and I'll take a chance with Royce Lewis.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Royce Lewis, his hits, runs, and RBIs is plus 105 over the 1.5. So, I think you're getting some pretty decent odds on that one as well. For DFS purposes, again, I'll be on the MLB DFS show here at 5. He's $2,000 again. He's $2,000 yesterday, but only 15% rostered him in price. I thought he was going to be well rostered above that. Will be interesting to see how many people are in on him tonight after his big debut performance yesterday.
Yeah, do we have a Twins lineup again? It'll probably be hitting 5th again, right?
Let's see. Minnesota.
Oh, I see it. He's hitting 6th tonight.
Okay.
So that's fine. You mentioned the hits, runs, RBIs prop. I guess a little bit more chances of RBIs there.
Yeah.
But I just think this Brandon Bielak's a guy that I don't fear at all for a matchup. So
yeah.
I'll plus 750 as a home run prop.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Why not take the chance that he's running hot right now?
I agree. Yep, 100%.
Before we get out of here, I wanted to throw out this WNBA pick because I had to. I'm always looking for different stuff to dive into, and with baseball being the only sport going tonight in the major sports world, I dove into some WNBA. And if you go over to Fantasy Alarm, we mentioned getting that All-Pro package for Fantasy Alarm's DFS playbooks. You can get all sports, and included in that is WNBA. And we got Steve Pimentel on the playbook for tonight. So go check that out to build some DFS lineups. But I was reading through that, and a couple of players he was mentioning were from the Dallas Wings tonight. Arike Ogunbowale is one of his top players, averaging 26 points per game this season, and she's one of the big reasons why I'm backing the Wings here. Wings are -6 on the spread here against Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx, just diving into them, they're 0-4 this season, losing every game by at least 6 points, losing by an average of 12 points per game, and both the road games so far, they've lost by double-digit losses in both. So I'm seeing the Dallas Wings here, 2-1 this season. They won their only home game so far by 7. So I see the -6 here. I like the Dallas Wings to cover here, and go read Steve's playbook for some DFS plays, but I like the spread here.
Yeah, that is definitely a pretty good one. Again, I'm not the biggest WNBA person. I usually follow Steve's playbook for DFS and try to find some bets maybe mixed in there with what he has kind of laid out for us here. I'm kind of interested here. I'm just looking at the betting line for tonight, and I guess I don't know the lineups yet, but Brianna Stewart's point props at 22.5 here for tonight. She's averaging 26 points per game on the season. So for whatever reason, her point prop is below what she's done, I guess, on the year. So something to watch there, I guess, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Brianna Stewart, obviously one of the best players in the WNBA.
That's why her name jumped out to me there. I was like, Brianna Stewart here, only there.
Yeah. Well, to play devil's advocate here, her name's not mentioned in the playbook by Steve here. So I don't know if maybe he's low on her for tonight.
Could be a pricing thing for DFS too,
Yeah, for pricing maybe. Interesting there. But yeah, Arike Ogunbowale is definitely in that playbook, and a big reason why I'm backing the Dallas Wings here for them.
Right.
Well, go check out all these playbooks John mentioned. So coming up at 5 o'clock Eastern here on Bettor Sports Network is the MLB DFS live show with James Grande and John. So go check that out. And then coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern, we got the Tour Junkies Golf Talk with David Barnett and Pat Perry. We got the Memorial Tournament coming up. And on Fantasy Alarm for free right now, you can go check out a little tournament preview for the Memorial by Drew Phelps, breaking down that field and possible picks for that. And I know he'll have his DFS playbooks out for the PGA DFS coming up for Thursday's first round. So definitely check that out with that All Pro subscription. You'll get it all. John, any final thoughts for tonight? I guess you're back in some Braves here, I see, but we got tons of plays. We're both on the Blue Jays at least, right?
It's a huge slate of games. So I'm sure throughout the night there'll be more kind of popping in, popping out. So we're in the Discord though, Dan, right? So I mean, as these plays come out, we're in that betting and DFS Discord channel. So if you're not yet a member, as we mentioned, sign up today. You can use numerous promo codes. MLB50 works as well for 50% off that first 6 months. And any new props, picks, ideas that we like for tonight, we'll be throwing them in there in the Discord. So get in there today.
Awesome. Yeah, you can stay tuned. In about 20 minutes here, we got Impemba and Grande talking MLB DFS. So get on that. John, appreciate the time here on a Tuesday. We'll see you in another week, but we'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. I know Howard will be back with me talking some MLB betting and NBA, golf, all of that. So we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate everyone for watching and listening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.